All right, hey, what's up everybody? Today I'm doing a review video on a USB powered shaker cup that I bought off Amazon for 30 bucks. And I know what you're thinking, that seems ridiculous, but I think I can explain why it makes sense. So before I get started, do me a favor, if you find this video to be helpful, please hit like on it, maybe even the subscribe button while you are here. I'm gonna put a link in the description down below to this specific VOLTRX USB powered shaker cup. And so look, here's the deal. They had a sale on these, and at first I thought that seems ridiculous. Why can't I just have a shaker cup and go like that? It's not that hard. Why spend 30 bucks on it? But then I thought about it for a second. It's not about the shaking. The shaking is so what? But have you ever done a shaker cup and then you take a big drink and there is a clump of something in there and you get it, you're just like, that might be a bug, or that might be the powder just did not blend well. You don't know. Side note, one time I did that and there was old chicken in my cup and it went in my mouth. It was disgusting. It scars you for life if that happens. Unrelated. So anyways, so I've got this, again, 30 bucks on Amazon. I'm gonna put a link down below. Let's open it up here. I probably should have thought this through a little bit. So it comes in this pretty fancy looking container, almost a little bit too fancy for a shaker cup, but I guess since it's USB powered and it's fancy, they went a little bit heavier with some of the packaging on it. But it's actually kind of a nice package. I mean, it's got holes in the top of it like it's something that's alive. It's not, but let's see here. Oh, here we go. Okay. So basically what I've got here is some instructions and then an actual cup here. And the cup itself is just a pretty standard looking cup. You can see there's some stuff on the inside of that. We'll get to that in a second. It says VOLTRX here. It is a solid plastic. It feels like a regular shaker cup. But I can see here in the bottom, I'm going to try to angle this so that you can see. So there's some sort of a mechanism in here that looks like it probably does something here. That's where the automatic spinning takes place. The lid itself, pretty standard. It's got one of these loops on it like you see a lot of times. Nothing special about the lid. One of my pet peeves, though, are lids that don't seal all the way, especially when you're doing like a shaker cup and they don't seal all the way and you end up splattering everybody. So, but this does feel like that seals good. Snaps nicely. All right, let's take a quick look at what came inside. USB power cable. So here is what the base is, obviously, that this plugs into, right? So you're going to see something like this. It's just going to fit on there, I'm assuming. Yep, fits on there nicely. So the idea here is that the powered part would actually be the base, and there's a button here, power button right there. And on the back, I'm assuming, yep, there is a plug that powers this up. Now, supposedly, a charge from this, if you use it 3 times a week, will last you for a month. Now, I am of the mindset that I am actually using a shaker cup, twice a day, sometimes more, but usually it's twice. So, one charge will not last me a month, but I am curious to see how this goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in, I'm going to charge it, and then I'll come back once it's charged. It might be tomorrow, but I'll come back once it's all charged up. Now it does, look, also something to note, it does not come with an actual plug part that you would plug into the wall, so you'd have to have something like that separately. Let's see here how easily it plugs into this. Sometimes these aren't sometimes they don't snap in nicely. All right, that's snug. Okay, good. So then the idea is once you charge the base, you hit the button, and then once the button's on, it's going to stir it. So it's almost like it is a blender, but it's almost the same concept. It's got a base, a blender. You would put your stuff in here. You'd put it on and it would. So ultimately, what do I want to know here? I want to know that once this is charged up, does this blend better than just doing it by hand? The shaking part, again, who cares? That's easy to do. But maybe for folks with arm injuries, that this action maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe they're just lazy, or maybe they just like having just the cool new gadgets. So I'm going to charge it up. We're going to test it out, and I'll see you whenever we get to that point. So cut, and here we go. Now something that I did want to show you, this was kind of neat. So I plugged it in here, and it actually lights up and blinks based off of how far along that it's going to charge. You can see it going there. Just something I thought was kind of neat. You know, a lot of times there'll be like a green LED or something on the side, but this one is a little bit more fancy, a little bit more unique. So just want to make sure to show you that. All right, so hey, we're back, and I have the cup now fully charged. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna test 3 different types of powders. So right now I'm just gonna be doing this. This is a branched chain amino acid that I got off of Amazon, which is actually pretty delicious. I'll put a link in the description down below if you're interested. And this typically blends very nicely. So I'm going to test this one now and see how it blends. But later what I'm going to do, maybe tomorrow, or we'll see when I actually get to do it, I'm going to do my protein powder, which is made by Isopure. This is a whey isolate, so it blends very nicely anyways, just with the standard shaker cup when you shake it. But I'm going to test it and see if it changes that at all, because I'm not just looking for solubility. I'm also looking for, like, doesn't make unnecessary bubbles, frothing, that type of deal. Speaking of unnecessary bubbles, the third thing I'm going to try is this. Now, this is a protein that I do not care for very much, because whenever I put it in a shaker cup, it makes it bubbly, and it makes it almost seem too airy whenever I'm drinking it. So I'm going to test this and see if it changes that at all. A couple of kind of interesting things here before I actually get started. One is, it does actually click onto the base very nicely. I did not realize that at first. It took a little bit of extra effort, but it does actually do that. It took me about 45 minutes for this to do a full charge. It was already charged up a little bit whenever I got it out of the box, but I'm going to guess, and I'll report more on this later, probably the same amount of time, 45 to an hour for a complete charge. A couple of other things here kind of note. One is the ounce sizes. Typically when you get a shaker cup, they break it down into 4-ounce increments, so you'll see a 4, an 8, and a 12 type of situation. This one's got a 5, a 9, and a 12, which is kind of a strange pacing for ounces. It's not really a big deal. I mean, if I'm doing 4 or 8, I'll just do it a little bit under the number, but just something I wanted to kind of mention as something somewhat unusual. One more thing, the button here, one press whenever it's charged like it is now, one press gives me 30 seconds of stir. I assume it just stops by itself after 30 seconds. If you do 2 presses, it's 3 minutes. Why somebody would want to go 3 minutes, I guess, to really make sure that it's stirred up nicely. But the big thing here is, what I also noticed whenever I was reading the manual, is it says what you do is you pour the liquid in first and then start it. You don't put the liquid and powder and start it. You do the liquid first. So, and I guess what it's going to do is it's going to make a whirlpool type situation, and then once that's going, then it says to put your powder in. Kind of interesting, and I'm not sure exactly how that works with the 30 seconds, of time that I've got. So what I'm going to do is I take the lid off, make my life a little bit easier here. So I'm going to do 8 ounces of liquid here. All right, so I've put it at about 8 ounces, just a little bit below the 9. I'm going to close that up. I'm not going to put the lid on, because obviously then I can't put my powder in. So this seems almost a little bit strange. I'm actually going to bend this down just a little bit so you can get a better view. So one of the things that's kind of odd here is the idea of starting this without the lid on it, because my gut says it's going to make a mess. It probably won't, but I'm just so used to making a mess. So here's my powder. I'm going to get it ready to go. You can see it kind of, all right, so I guess I'm just going to go ahead and start it. And actually, let me do this. I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to get my phone out and record it kind of from the top so you can see what this is going to look like. So I'm going to hit the button. Let's see how loud it is. Oh, weird. So whenever I did that, the light came on. There was a slight delay, so I hit it again because I thought it didn't actually work, but it did. It just was a slight delay. So we'll go here. All right. Let's put the powder in. That's pretty normal for all that stuff to do that. and it stopped on its own. So a couple of things to note is around the sides. This isn't a powder that's on the side. This is more like a foam just from the powder. So it seems like it's blended. So let me stop my camera. Well, that did not make the mess that I expected. Now, so my question is, as far as blendability, how does that go? How is it going to do? What am I doing wrong here? Oh. All right, let me take it off the base. It doesn't need that anymore. So, was no mess, really. Like I said, just a little bit of sort of the foam on the sides from whenever it was doing what it was doing. I'm looking on the bottom, trying to see if I can see like any kind of residue. Did it actually do a good job? There's some white down there on the bottom, but I can't tell if that's powder. It's not, oh, it is moving just a little bit. Look at that. So we've got some unfinished stirring stuff here. I'm actually going to put it back on the base because that probably should have done it. Let me hit it one more time. You know, and this might be a situation where a longer stir time than 30 minutes would have been required. Or 30 minutes, 30 seconds. So let's see here what it does. So now this is kind of interesting because, you know, this makes me question if I'm using a standard shaker cup, am I leaving that much in the bottom anyways? Not necessarily surprising, I guess, because I do know that sometimes I drink from a regular shaker cup and I'll get to the end and I don't like drinking what's at the end of it because it gets a little bit grainy. So, you know, that's kind of an interesting thought here is maybe I'm just losing that much anyways. And now if you can see here, the white at the bottom, there's a little bit down there, but not nearly what it was after just the first turn. So let me just take a quick sip and see what this is like. I mean, sip-wise, it's pretty much like it was before, but it does seem like the white at the bottom is much less than it was prior. So I think after 2 spins, it was much better on dissolving the BCAA powder. Now, the true secret will be once I get to the end of this, will it make a difference? So, let's see. No powder, no grit, no anything there. So it did a good job of that. Whenever I'm looking in the bottom of the cup, probably hard to see here, but oh, right on my computer. But there's really nothing, I mean, no powder left over here at the bottom, just some suds. So test 1 went good. I think it did a better job than it did just with a standard shaker cup because I didn't have any of the grit at the bottom. Doing it twice made a big difference. Doing it once was not enough. So a 1 minute stir. But again, whenever I'm doing it in a shaker cup, I'm doing it for probably 10 seconds tops and then drinking it, which would explain a lot of the times why I've got the stuff in it that I don't want. So anyways, let me do this. Oh, there we go. So next up will be my test of the protein powder that I normally do. We'll see in a bit. All right, hey, what's up, everybody? So now we are going to do my IsoPure protein isolate powder. So I'm going to pour water into my empty glass. I'm going to do about 9 ounces here. See here, I'm right about the 9 ounce mark, give or take a little bit. And I'm going to do a scoop and a half, but I don't put that in yet because it wants me to start the thing here first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this twice. Last time it showed me with the other powder, I needed twice to really get it good. So twice is 2 30-second mixes. So I'm going to go ahead and move this down just a little bit so you can see it. And then I'll pour this in as we get rolling. So I'll fast forward this so you don't have to sit through the boring part of this. Okay, so apparently I touched it twice and did it for more than 30 seconds. That was about 40 seconds. But, so quick reaction is, I mean, I don't see any floaties. From the top it looks good. let's see here. Now this is the one typically where I have struggled to drink like the full thing because I get freaked out at all the granular stuff at the bottom. So this one's going to be interesting. So I'm not going to do any extra shaking, just going to drink this up. Let's see how this goes. And try to show you this without spilling it on my laptop this time. So, I mean, just barely anything. Not like it would be normally if I was mixing it. There'd be much more at the bottom. So I can definitely say that on the protein powder, doing it 40 seconds or so, completely dissolved, or almost completely dissolved, way better than a regular shaker cup. So next up is going to be my test of this, which is, I'm not looking forward to this because it's always really difficult to drink. But so far, that protein powder one convinced me that this is a good idea. This is a cool thing to have. We'll see if it really holds up under this. So we'll see on that here in just a second. Okay, I am on my last test, which is the protein powder. This, I think, is made by, it doesn't really matter. It's one that I don't like because whenever I typically use it, it doesn't dissolve well. Why is my hat crooked? It doesn't dissolve well, and it's always foamy and airy whenever I use a regular shaker cup. So we're going to do this as the final test. Just to recap, I think that it did blend the BCAA powder better, but only after 2 full rotations. The protein powder that I used before, the isolate, I thought it definitely blended it better 100%, and I could tell because there wasn't any chunkies at the bottom, which was nice. So I'm going to go ahead and move this down again. To show you, I am using about 9 ounces, just under, just a little bit. And let's go ahead and hit the button once. Did I do it? Oh, that's where you plug it in at. That's the wrong button. Over here. Okay, so a couple of things that are also interesting here. One is I've noticed that when you pour the powders in, it does sometimes, you know, kind of mist up onto the side. So there's a little bit of protein powder on the sides of each one of these. But I'm looking at the, I'm going to try to show you this again without spilling my drink like I did last time, like an idiot. But I don't see the foamy stuff at the top like I normally would with a foam shaker, or with a regular shaker. So let's see. And once again, I got to the bottom of the cup, and there's no chunkies, no floaties. Trying to kind of show this again. Not like I had experienced if I used just a standard shaker cup. All right, final verdict. Do I think this is worth $30? It depends on you and your preferences. It was worth it. I think this is going to be great for me because I really struggle with drinking the very bottom portions of my drinks. A lot of times I'll just get to about this point here and I'll pitch the rest of it just because it freaks me out to get the chunkies and the floaties at the bottom. I tried with the BCAA. After 2 rotations, there were none. After my isolate protein, there was none, and there was none after this. So all 3 different types of powders that I tested with this got rid of the chunky floaties at the bottom. So to me, because I can drink more of these now, I can drink more and I don't have to throw any away at the bottom. This was worth it to me. Otherwise, if you're fine with the standard shaker cup type of situation and you don't mind the floaties, this probably is not for you. I think it's cool. I think it's neat, but if the stuff at the bottom doesn't bother you, probably not worth it. But if it does bother you, if you hate taking a drink and getting the thick, just glob of protein or something, this did the trick. This was actually great. So I'm very excited that I purchased this for that reason, on top of it being cool. So again, link's going to be in the description down below if you want to go and pick yours up. Looking forward to more of these things, using it more, getting more drinks out of my drinks. So this is a VOLTRX USB powered shaker cup. Thanks y'all so much for watching. If this was helpful, please hit like on it. Maybe even subscribe while you're already here. We'll see you on the next video. Peace out.